unique CTF because the hosts aren't in control of the application, so we can't induce pass. We can't guarantee things are going to be there for people to find because all the contestants are also producing the targets that are being attacked. Also for the teams, it's not just about breaking, it's also about building, which was, I think, really something we need to emphasize in the industry because a lot of InfoSec people know how to break, don't know how to build, and we need to do a lot more secure building. Because of these unique challenges, we had some stuff we had to work around in the competition, but I think all the competitors were really gracious in helping us adapt and move on and produce a pretty good competition, and they really, really grinded it out. For a while, it looked like maybe nobody would get a flag, and then people started popping points, and it ended up being a really good competition, I think. So congratulations to all the competitors.
Okay, so I'll announce the winners. In fifth place, the application development team from Millersville. Want to come up? We'll just take. Oh, guys,
picture.
Take picture.
Don't take off the pictures each time. Yes.
Okay, in fourth place, Batman's Kitchen from University of Washington. So I should say the fifth place winners got a bone conduction headphone, and the fourth place winners got a get the Super Nintendo. So this was actually one of the hardest prizes that we had to find because we had our team staking out Walmarts all over the eastern Connecticut at midnight to get these. So we managed to get enough of them for these. So. Third place is TOS from University of California, Santa Barbara. The one-person team. So third place is a check for $5,000.
Certificate.
Thank you. Well done.
Yeah. They'll get the real check in the mail. Don't worry about it.
They are awesome. So Syracuse also.
Okay. Second place is Sage from Syracuse University, and we also had a special prize for them as well. That they so this competition had a defensive side and an offensive side, so they were the best offensive team as well. So second place is a prize for $7,500, and the offensive prize was an extra $1,000. And first place, NightSec from University of Central Florida. And they squeaked by. It was actually a tie with Syracuse, but they squeaked by because they found a problem in our requirements spec, so they got an extra 5 points that got them the win. And first prize it was a check for $10,000. So social engineering was a competition that we developed here at UConn, and I'll have Paul Wartman come up and talk a little bit about the challenges and some of the unique things that we did this year.
Hi. So finishing the point I made on the first day of why am I in costume, it's because Halloween's nearby and we did it before. So as a very recognizable game admin for social engineering, I figured I would don my costume one more time. In terms of the social engineering competition, what we were having teams do is that they were investigating a medical embedded device company called C Healthless that they started to look into under the guise of this evil, maniacal kind of evil genius that wants to find out what they can about C Healthless. So through a bunch of social engineering, as well as a booth we had outside and some other accounts we had, teams would end up, one, applying for a job at C Healthless in order to find more information about their current projects and who's on certain development teams that are there. And then the other path was that they would start to impersonate one of the web developers, allowing them access into the website and allowing them to reach databases for information running, databases for all of the projects that are running in C Healthless. So the part of the story that they did not end up getting to would have led them to find that C Healthless is actually far more nefarious than they would have expected. And that rather than providing benign medical embedded devices for the general betterment of mankind, they were actually replacing everyone as cyborgs. So you can tell from the laugh in the room that no one made it far enough for the story to start to make sense. That's good for me because it means I'm now 3-0 and you guys have yet to beat my social engineering game. But you guys did do a wonderful job with all of this. You got stuck in places that we did not expect at all. Such as resume submission. I figured you guys would have done better at that. And some of the other parts where we thought we would end up trapping you, you guys blew through and really gave us a scare on the first day. Yeah, that's all I've got. We'll go over more at a debrief after all this, so you guys can come to me and complain about all the things you hated, and I will explain to you who the game supervisor was.
All right. So that gives you a sense of what it was like to actually fight our Master Jedi here. So results going backward, 5th place, Night C, University of Central Florida. So they scored 1,210 points. You'll see that the scores are not that far apart for the teams in the top. So they all deserve a big round of applause as we will wrap up with the prizes. Now remember, we're starting at 1210 for Night C, climbing 9 points. 1219, we have Batman's Kitchen, University of Washington, 4th place. And they get to enjoy the Nintendo as well, I'm afraid. That will take a drain on their productivity academically. But maybe that's better for our networks. All right, thank you guys. 3rd place, reminder, this is a check for $5,000. We have the Autobots from Syracuse. And that's a score of 1233 if you keep scores. So we went up a few points. Yeah, they really did great. Now, the next jump separated a little bit. With 1,375 points, we have EDAM, the US Coast Guard Academy. that check, in case you forgot, was $7,500. Thank you, guys. Congratulations again. Now, for the top position, a check of $10,000, 1,454 points. So again, another jump. And this is N13 PTR, Florida State University. Congratulations. Very well done, guys. Remember, there is a grad school if you ever want to come to UConn again for a more permanent stay. That we have fun activities for you of all kinds. With this, I'd like to call our friend of Cisco to actually describe a few details about their CTF and read out.
Sure. So the first thing I've got to do is, thank Laurent and the faculty here and all of the staff for A, inviting us, and then B, the setup and everything. Absolutely fantastic. The next thing I have to do, is this getting streamed to the internet? Is this going to show up on the internet? Okay, great. I need to do a special shout out to my wife and Chris's wife. They have been CyberSEED widows for the last 3 months, okay? So they may not be up here with us, but they held everything else together as we were doing this. The next thing I really want to do is I want to thank all the teams. You know, everybody that was out here that competed, fantastic. I mean, sharp. I don't think that I could put together a team from Cisco that we could show up that would compete in the top with these teams. Gracious. You know, that's all I can have to say about that. Fantastic group of, young men and young women here competing. So this year we came back. We wanted to bump the difficulty up from last year, and I think we accomplished that. So nobody finished. Nobody got all the way to the end. There were problems that remained unsolved at the end, although there were folks, some of them, within just as close as you could possibly get down into that last 5 minutes. But everybody, worked on it straight to the end, and I thought it was a good competition. I hope everybody had fun, enjoyed it, learned something along the way, which is what we were also pushing for, to make sure that, as students, they came, learned, and take things back, and then on with the awards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll try to work my way backward as well. Interesting. Batman's Kitchen takes the 5th spot with 1,375 points and 5th position. Note that there are ties at the end in this group, as we've heard. They were really close to one another, and what was used in the end to break ties are timing of submission. So whoever got the flags earliest ranked higher in this. So congratulations nonetheless. It means that you guys are all at the tippy top performance-wise. It's minutes that separate you. Congratulations. Now, in fourth place, Florida State University with 1,375 points. Congratulations. Congratulations again. Moving on to the third spot, I'm afraid the score is 1375. It was a four-way tie. We have Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, RPISAC. Guys, please come up. Now, because they were a little earlier, they get to enter the bigger check.
No, it's actually 14:45. I think they were.
A second, please. Oh, they were tied for second. Oh, okay. Sorry. So they were tied for second. Congratulations. So also with 1425, since this was a two-way tie, University of New Haven with 1425. Congratulations, you pick up second spot. Congratulations, guys. Really well done. Now, the top position, with 1,600 points, we have the University of Central Florida, NITSEC. All right, so that wraps it up for the competition. I think that all these contenders, the winners, but also everyone else deserve. Yes, we'll need the check back. You'll get the real one, don't worry. I think that all the competitors and the winners in particular deserve a big round of applause for their performance in these past 2 days. Before we wrap up, I think it's also important to recognize that it's not just UConn who's actually to thank for this. All these prizes and the competitions are made possible because of our friends at Comcast who have supported the event both from an organization standpoint and also from a financial standpoint in particular. So I'd like to give a shout out to Jim Farney, who's here, to VJ, who's here, to Chuck, who left a little earlier today, and the entire Comcast crew who actually helped us make this possible. Patrick, Matt, if you're here somewhere, thank you very much. I think that you really help us to make this event better every year. So thank you very much for all your support and making this possible. Last but not least, we had 3 competitions. We organized one, but 2 others were done by industry partners. So Jeff from Envieta is also a big thank you for getting everything up. And of course, our friends at Cisco, I think that they actually enjoy this as much as you, not because they like to torture you, but they're impressed and they're scared by your capabilities, quite frankly. So thank you very much to all of you for all your support and making this possible. We really appreciate it. So please thank them with me.
And then finally, before we close, I want to thank our UConn team, the students who are up in the back and who are manning the social engineering table. So Cameron, Waldemar, Sarah, Feng Wei, Xingyu. Did I miss anyone? There have been Wei in the back, and then we had some other students, Chu Jua, who was helping as well. So thanks to those. Especially want to give a strong thanks to Waldemar. Those of you who worked on the AppSec competition, Waldemar spent the entire weekend trying to get your applications working over the weekend, so special thanks to him. I want to thank Paul, who's our lab engineer, who set up the social engineering competition. And then finally, I want to thank Rini Marco, who is essential in making sure that these competitions ran, especially the AppSec and the social engineering. And then all of you dealt with Jeanette. This conference would not run at all without Jeanette Burke. So thanks to her as well. And if you want to see your money, make sure you listen to her, pay attention to her emails, because she's going to ask you for information. So make sure you get in touch with her.
Good. Last thing, there was a request to actually take a group picture of all the participants in the competitions. So we'd like to group you together in the foyer right outside here once we have wrapped up here for a group picture. I'm sure that our photograph is close by and is setting this up to get going. Was this?
Just one more thing. The winning teams, we actually have another prize for you. So can you come see Jeanette before you come out for the picture or after the picture? And then, so Paul mentioned that he'll do a debrief after for the social engineering competitors. And I know a lot of you have been already talking to Steve, but if you have any questions about the CTFs, Steve said he'll be around for a little bit, so you can ask him questions.
Now, because I can't help it, but I have to do a very, very last thing. I'd like to recognize one person in particular who actually was at the onset for getting this conference up and going and for organizing everything, and that is Ramesh Sheparad. She used to be working at Comcast. She now moved on to Freddie Mac. But I must say she was here for the 2 days. She left just earlier this afternoon. But she deserves a big round of thank you, because this competition and this event exist because of her vision. And I really am appreciative of all the work that she's done for us and for you guys to give you this opportunity. So please join me. Even though she's not here, she might hear about it. So give me a chance of having a big, big round of applause for her. And I think with that, we can wrap up and give you a chance to pick up your prize, meet us in the hall for that big group picture.
So we'll see you next year. Thanks.